All right, what's going on YouTube? Just finished watching the Andre Ward fight with Sullivan Barrera, and I mean, what else can I really say? This is just another fight that Andre Ward made a good fighter look bad. I stated that on my Twitter account. Floyd Mayweather is the only other fighter, or one of the few fighters that's able to do the same thing. Sullivan Barrera is a good fighter. He's a good fighter. I mean, I don't know how he would look against a Kovalev or Dona Stevenson, but the majority of the guys at 175 would have lost to this guy. And now I'm talking about the top guys at 175. Okay, going into this fight, whether you're an Andre Ward hater, whether you're an Andre Ward fan, you at least acknowledge that this was a good fight. Okay, many people I've seen online on social media say that Sullivan Barrera was going to pull off the upset. I mean, even after the bell rung, I saw people on my Twitter account saying that this fight is going to be an upset. Regardless of the first couple of rounds, people were still saying that Andre Ward was going to get knocked out. He was going to get stopped. So, with that being said, let's not go into the whole, Andre Ward didn't look good or Barrera was trash. He fought a bum. It's no big, no, he didn't fight a bum. All right, Sullivan Barrera is a good fighter. This was a good win. It's not no historical win or anything like that, but it's a good, solid win for Andre Ward. Especially for that IBF spot and everything. All right. As far as the fight, the only part I did not see was the part where the point was taken. Okay, I think somebody called me at that exact time, and I was not paying attention to the television. Outside of that, I thought the second round was pretty close because Barrera was landing a couple of jabs in that round. He landed a couple right hands in that round, so that was one of the rounds that I thought was a toss up. I think one of the later rounds too was like pretty close, and then there was a round the point was taken. All right, but outside of that, it was a landslide. All right, Ward destroyed this guy, and he knocked him down and everything. If I were to critique Ward, I think he said it best in his post-fight interview. I think he gave himself a B minus. I think he could have been a little sharper. I think some of those left hooks he threw, he left himself completely open for. You know what I'm saying? I think at certain points he was definitely going for the knockout. But I think Andre Ward fights at a level of his competition. When he fought Paul Smith, there was really no danger there. There was a little bit more danger. I think Andre Ward looked better in this fight than he did against Paul Smith because there was literally no danger in that fight. We didn't really see Andre Ward use too much, that much variety in his style and his punches in the Paul Smith fight compared to this fight. And I think when Andre Ward fights a guy like a Kovalev, we're going to see him at a even better Andre Ward, okay? Going into this fight, if you see my prediction, really didn't know. I think most people would agree that Andre Ward overall is a better fighter than Sullivan Barrera. I think people were more afraid of the weight issue, Andre Ward moving up in weight, and more about him being inactive. But as far as the fighters, we all can agree that Andre Ward is definitely a better fighter. Definitely a better boxer. If you're going to give any advantage to Barrera, you would say that he had a power advantage, or he's been more active, or he's been fighting at the weight longer, or he's bigger. But outside of that, as far as skills is concerned, Andre Ward was clearly the better fighter going into this fight. And in my opinion, he delivered. The fight was never really competitive, in my opinion. And another thing they were saying at the end of this fight, I think Max Kellerman was bringing up a point that you didn't use much movement in this fight. You stood right in front of him and fought. he stood right in front of Barrera and fought him. You know, Barrera just didn't look good. He didn't look strong. He didn't look powerful. You know, I said the second round could have gone to Barrera. You know, I think that was one of the more competitive rounds in this fight. And the few right hands that he landed didn't seem to phase Andre Ward. Not in that round, not in none of the later rounds. He really didn't seem to bother Andre Ward for a guy that has respectable power up at 175 that landed some clean shots. Nothing seemed to ever phase Andre Ward outside of the headbutt. So I like Andre Ward's chances of beating Kovalev. You know, I've always thought that he would beat Kovalev, but I was worried about him being inactive. But after seeing this fight, you know, I'm even more confident that he would beat Kovalev if they were to fight. Now, I did see the news about Andre Ward or his camp. I can't remember. It was maybe like a week ago now about him not having a second fight. You know, originally it was going to be 3 fights with HBO, 2 preparing him for a final fight with Kovalev at the end of the year. And Andre Ward or his team has came out and said that it might not be a second fight. It might go straight into Kovalev after this fight. How do I feel about that? I don't see why people are upset. If you don't like Andre Ward, I don't see why you're upset about that, because that's one less fight you have to see him in. Okay? That would be even more of an advantage for Kovalev, because Kovalev is the more active fighter. And, you know, we don't want, if you're on Kovalev's side, you don't want Andre Ward to be even more prepared. Because if Ward has let's say Ward has another fight before Kovalev, right? He's obviously not going to fight a Stevenson. He's not going to fight, I don't know, like, he's not going to fight another champion. He's not going to fight Stevenson, and he's not going to fight Beterbiev, right? Because those guys are directly, like, they're in the sights of Kovalev. They're truly, like, potential opponents for the near future, right? Those two. So he's not going to fight one of those two, all right? And if you look at, like, if you go to BoxRec and you look at whoever else is up there, none of these guys bring more of a challenge, much more of a challenge than Barrera did in this fight. Like, I can't see any of these other top 10, top 20 guys beating Andre Ward. I just don't see it. You know, I don't see it. So, in my opinion, I want Andre Ward to have another fight in between this fight and Kovalev, because I'm a fan of Andre Ward, and I think it would better prepare him and keep him active, keep him in the gym, and keep him training. And I think it would be better the more fights you have, because you'll just be more active. You'll get that, you shake even more of that rust off. I'm not saying he is rusty, but it will shake more of the rust off before getting in the ring with Kovalev. I think he's fine, but it would even make it better for Ward. You guys get what I'm saying. So I don't get the people that are complaining about Ward that's, like, you know, not fighting again before Kovalev. Like, who is he ducking in the 175 division? Like, who is he ducking in that division? No one really, you know? I mean, if we're judging and basing everything before this fight happened tonight, we all thought that Barrera was a tough fight. I mean, I picked Andre Ward to win by decision, but I thought Barrera was a dangerous opponent, you know, and he took his power away from him, you know. Going into the fight, I said he was going to be slow, and he looked extremely slow from the opening round. He looked extremely slow. I know his lack of speed was going to be a problem for the rest of the night. All right. Not saying that Ward was at his best, but he didn't have to do too much adjustments in this fight to win this fight against Barrera. You know, Barrera seemed to be very basic, and it was an easy fight for Andre Ward. It was a cruise. You know, I think Barrera's best shots was earlier in the fight, and once Andre jumped on it and took control very early and even got the early knockdown, I knew the fight was a wrap, unless, you know, Ward made a terrible mistake. But the only one time Ward really made a mistake is when he got knocked down by Boone, And even in that fight, Ward destroyed him for the rest of the fight. So, anyway, I'm trying to think of anything else that I wanted to bring up in this fight. Uh, I'm curious. I'm pretty sure that the Kovalev fight is probably going to be out in Oakland, because Kovalev really doesn't mind traveling to fight guys. Um, I can't really think of anything else to really bring up. I mean, I just want to say again that I would like Ward to have one more fight, but he's not gonna fight the guys that people want to see him fight, especially now after he won this fight the way that he did. People are gonna really want him to fight like one of the top 3 or 4 fighters, But let's say he throws John Pascal on the schedule. Like, let's say he does that. Is there anyone that think Pascal is going to win that fight? No. So why are you complaining? Why are people complaining about him not fighting or having a fight in between? It's just no one there at 175. If you believe Ward is a top fighter pound for pound or the best fighter pound for pound, there's no one at 175 in that top 10, top 20 list that really is a problem for Ward outside of Sergey Kovalev, in my opinion. So, so that's how I feel about that. Listen, I know I didn't do a video in a while. I actually got like 3 videos in a vault that I just did not upload yet. I did a video on Algerian Spence like 3 weeks ago. I did a bunch of videos after the Conor McGregor fight, and I did a video on that too, and I didn't upload it yet. So I don't know, maybe I'll upload it right now. But anyway, let me know what you guys think. Glad SOG's back in the building. I hope he keeps the momentum going. I hope he keeps getting fights. And keeps it up. At least fight twice a year, because fans like myself really want to see the fights, man. We want to see the fights, at least 2 fights a year. All right. Let me know what you guys think, and make sure you guys subscribe. Peace.